Viper, Trackhawk, Ram 1500, Rubicon. Ram 1500.
Ah, low fuel, low fuel. Why does this always happen to me? It's Saturday morning, so you know what time it is. Starbucks time in the worst engineered drive-through line possible. Anyways, Starbucks time. You see, here's the problem with this Starbucks, right? Passing traffic going in the middle of the drive-through, and I can't pull up far enough to where the next person can order, because if I pull up there, then I'm sitting in the middle of traffic. Not sure who thought of this Starbucks, but okay, it's my turn.
Interesting thing here. See, I got a regular coffee drink, you know, just venti vanilla sweet cream cold brew. Kennedy, however, not here, got a grande pumpkin cream cold brew, typical white girl drink. They didn't get a straw because they're on the save the turtle thing. Regular coffee, white girl drink for fall, no straw, save turtles, except Kennedy likes straws and gets mad every time they don't give her a straw.
You see, I'm not here to talk about Starbucks or Saturday mornings, people. I'm here to talk about the 2019 Ram 1500. Now, the reason why I'm making this video is because A, my truck is at 20,000 miles, B, this is about the time I get bored and want a new truck, and C, I possibly want a new truck. Hear me out.
You see, what this truck is so good at is what you're looking at. This display is one of the best. This screen is one of the best, and this isn't even the 12-inch screen that's offered. So if you guys have been living under a rock, Ram obviously offers a 12-inch Tesla-style screen that goes down to where the AC controls are, and it is a very large screen. But to me, this is what you're looking at for what the Ram is very good at. This whole electronics display, the way everything works, and the sound system is impeccable. It is awesome. I would highly recommend it. This is what drew me to the 2019 Ram 1500. Another huge plus to this truck was the storage. This centerpiece slides far forward. You've got tons of storage. All of this right in the center console. Another awesome thing on the 2019 Ram 1500. Another super awesome feature, this seat is pushed almost all the way back because I'm 6'1", and I'm sitting in the back and I have tons of legroom. And this seat is even leaned back, riding gangster style. Just look how big this back seat is, and here's another plus. Do you notice something? This seat is actually leaned back, so if you pull right here, where is it? There it is. You can actually lean the seat back. How awesome is that? This truck is huge in the back. Like I said, I'm 6'1". This is me sitting all the way up on the reclined seat. I've got plenty of headroom space, and look above me, all the speakers. This isn't even a top of the line model. This is just a Laramie, and look at all the speakers above me. Awesome. Just look at all that room. Also, storage bins under there, very cool. Now, when these 2019 Ram 1500s first came out, I was not a fan of the front end. I thought it was too futuristic. It took away from the original Ram trucks. If you guys didn't know, actually my very first vehicle when I first started driving and got a driver's license was a 1998 Ram 1500 two-wheel drive. And actually, when you look at these from the front, they do take some characteristics of old Rams, and they've just made it more newer style. You know, they've modernized it. What my favorite thing is these LED lights. These things are awesome. Now, obviously, you get different ones on the higher end models. This being a Laramie, you still get an LED, but you can get a limited and some of the other higher end models, and you get a nice, even nicer headlight. Now, this one doesn't have the panoramic roof, just has tons of headroom, but obviously up here, you can turn off and on the lights when you open the door. Super nice feature when you're unlocking the truck at night. It actually puts a light emitted down from the mirror down onto the floor. And this button, my favorite, you can open the tailgate. That switch is also on the key fob. However, no one has figured out yet how to make the tailgate go back by itself, but that's okay because it's super light. Now, this one is a four-wheel drive truck. It's got the 5.7 liter V8 Hemi. This does not have the e-torque, which I don't think is necessary. So really, powertrain wise, nothing has really changed on these in a long time. It's just kind of the tried and true and tested setup from Ram with the 5.7 liter Hemi. Now this truck specifically has the 392 gear ratio, so it's able to tow closer to 11,000 pounds, even though it's 4-wheel drive. If you get a 2-wheel drive model, those actually tow a lot more. Always 2-wheel drive can tow more. This one, however, because it has the 392 gears and it's a 4-wheel drive truck, I finally, after 20,000 miles, I'm averaging 13.7 miles per gallon. Now, something to note, let me show you. That 13.7 miles per gallon is with these Discover AT3 All-Terrain 285 60/20 tires. Pretty beefy tire, isn't all-terrain, but it's definitely a very aggressive tire. I do have 1.5-inch spacers all the way around, and I do have a 1.5-inch lift on the front end. If you are wondering, after 20,000 miles of getting in and out of the seat, you can see a little bit of wrinklage here, but nothing is torn, ripped, or stained on the seats. Obviously, they're black leather. I take decent care of my vehicles. I definitely need to vacuum the truck out and wipe it down. And why is it raining right now? Now, you guys are probably thinking to yourselves, everything you've named has been a really positive thing about the truck. It sounds like an awesome truck. Why would you not want this truck, David? Let me tell you. You see, there's still a few quirks to this truck, being that it is the first generation of this 2019 Ram 1500. There's always going to be problems because it's the first generation. Once they have these vehicles out for 2 or 3 years, you can expect that they've done all the recalls and that the trucks are pretty much finely tuned at that point, and that's when you want to jump in and buy one. Now, it's always cool to get the first generation. However, I don't care what vehicle it is, typically first generation vehicles have problems. And here's some of those quirks. Now, a lot of these are first world problems. I've made a video on a few of these things already, but at high speeds, there's a noise that comes through the windshield or through the mirror. It's one of those. I have a video on it. Go check it out. You'll know exactly what I'm talking about. The air conditioning. This is definitely first world problems, but the AC does not blow as cold as it normally should. Now, I know that sounds crazy, but for those 2019 Ram 1500 owners, you know exactly what I'm talking about. I've had a 2018 F-150 and a 2016 F-150, both brand new, and the AC in those vehicles blows so cold that eventually you turn it down, right? And I've ridden and driven a GMC and a Chevy. I've driven them all. You always want to turn them down eventually. I have never been on a road trip where it's hot outside, you know, above 75 degrees, and I've wanted to turn the AC down because the truck was so cold inside. That's never happened. I always have to have the truck on full AC because it just doesn't blow that cold. And here's another thing. The design of where the vents are, you guys that have these trucks, you can attest to this. Where this vent is at, I don't know what it is, but if I'm driving with my hand here, my hand actually blocks this vent. It's probably because of my height or something, but this vent needs to either be higher, lower, or over one way more of the other. I don't know if anyone else has noticed that, but that drives me nuts. Or if I'm at like a traffic sign, if I'm at like a red light or something and I'm checking my phone, I literally hold it right here and I block the only vent. This is my only vent on this side. Obviously I have one over here, but on this side, this is my only vent. With a Ford, there's actually a few vents on either side for the driver or passenger. Now I'm telling you, these are first world problems, but when you have a brand new vehicle, and if you want to help Ram build better vehicles, these are things you kind of have to point out. Now the next thing is the heated and cooled seats. The heated seats work awesome. And you guys still, same thing, you may be saying, oh, first world problems. Well, I've had brand new Dodge vehicles and Ram vehicles before, and they've actually worked a lot better. This 2019 Ram 1500, the cooling seats do not work that good. However, wait for it. They just turned off. They're turning back on. I don't know if you can hear them, but they are very, very loud. Now that's pretty typical for cooling seats. They're gonna be very annoying. They don't work that good for how loud the motor is on them. Now you definitely feel them more than a GMC or a Chevy, I have noticed, but Ford's cooling seats knock these out of the water. Let's turn that off, that's very loud. Now, when driving down the road, I get a very loud clunking noise from the front. Now you may say, well David, it's probably from the spacer lift you have. Actually, it's not. I've had a few people comment that have had this same noise, same problem, and it actually has something to do with the steering rack. They say sometimes the steering rack gets loose on these. Now, if you have a 2019 Ram 1500 and you have that same clunking noise when you hit certain bumps, comment down below and let me know what it is, because a few people have told me they've had their steering rack replaced
or they've had to retighten it down. So let me know down below.
Another thing having to do with the drivetrain, the brakes. The brakes are ungodly squeaky, especially in the morning, which is pretty typical of a vehicle if it sits outside. However, this vehicle has done it from day one, even when I park it in the garage or even when it's warm out. Obviously, when it's cold out, brakes are gonna be a little bit squeakier, but even when it's warm out this summer and I'd park the car or park the truck inside, the brakes are very squeaky. Even during the day, once the truck's warmed up, once it's not even cold anymore, the brakes still like to squeak when I pull up to a stop sign. Now, obviously, they're not gonna do them right now because I'm filming, so why would the truck do it? But once again, you guys are gonna say 20,000 miles, first world problems. That's not true. Like I said, this truck has done that from the get-go. Now, one other issue that's bothered me, and let me say this before, I'll say it at the end. I'll say it at the end. One more issue that has bothered me is this screen has gone out a few times. Now, it hasn't permanently gone out, but there's been times when I go to change the volume and it just gets stuck. And none of the buttons work. And I've actually Googled it, and a few people have actually had their whole screens replaced because something was glitching in the system. Now, mine always comes back. There was actually a little fix, I guess, if you'll call it. So on Rams, on the left side of the steering wheel, you can change the station or the track with two buttons that are behind the steering wheel. So what would happen when this would go out is you would just try changing the source or track and it would actually fix it. So what I'm saying is you would change the volume and like the number wouldn't even go anywhere. It would just, the whole screen would be frozen. And how you would fix that was changing the track or source with the buttons behind the steering wheel, and then it would just go back to normal. So those are some of the first world problems, but these are annoying problems that suck when you buy a brand new $40,000 to $50,000 truck. It's kind of one of those annoyances. So here I am, I've got 20,000 miles on this truck, and I don't know if I would buy it again. You see, this truck, when it first came out, I absolutely loved it. I drove it back from Oklahoma and I thought it was the best truck I have ever owned. And I've owned a lot of trucks in my lifetime. I've owned a lot of vehicles in my lifetime. Well, I'm getting to 30 vehicles. I'm really close. We're gonna make it happen. But I get back to simplicity. Now, this layout, like I said, the interior in this and the layout is far superior to the Ford. And I was kind of disappointed when the 2020 Ford just released and they showed some images and videos and they really aren't updating the digital things such as like the screen, the speedometer, all that heads up stuff. None of that's upgraded, which makes no sense to me. Maybe they're gonna change it right before it comes out, but I've seen leaked photos and videos and it still looks the same as the 2019, the 2018, the 2017, the 2016. They all look the same, which is fine because that's what works. But with these, how technologically advanced they're becoming, and GMC and Chevy just released their new trucks and they're all way updated. They've got a bunch of cool technology. They've got a backup mirror that's actually a camera the entire time. I mean, super cool technology in these trucks. These trucks are becoming like your Mercedes-Benz. I mean, it's insane the technology that these trucks are getting. But the Ford is staying true to their roots, but I'm fine with that. See, I'm more of a simple person. I'd rather have everything work perfectly than have all this nice gadgets and the things work some of the times. I'm just not for that. Now, obviously, Fords have their own problems, GMCs have their own problems, Chevys have their own problems, but in my personal experience, the best trucks I've owned have actually been Fords, and I've really liked them. And I swear, every time I sell one and get a different truck, I always end up saying, I wish I still had my Ford. So here's my thing. The Ram you can definitely get cheaper, usually. See, Ford has a huge sale going on right now where they have like $10,000 to $15,000 off of Ford F-150s. Ram has been having that sale for a while. I think at the end of the day, no matter what, the Ford, you'll still always pay $2,000 to $3,000, maybe even $4,000 more per truck, even based on the best discounts. So if you went and got the best deal on a Ram, and then you went and got the best deal on a Ford, you'd probably still end up paying like $2,000 to $4,000 more on the Ford. But the thing with the Ford is it is a little more reliable. I know a lot of you Ford haters, because I got a lot of Mopar people on here are gonna hate me for saying this, but in my personal experience, the new trucks, I'm not talking about when your dad or your cousin had a 1999 F-150 or they had the 5.4 Triton, it was the worst motor ever. I get that. I'm talking about new versus new, the new trucks. I still think the Ford is the best truck to buy. And I know this because I've owned two of them, and I've now owned the 2019 Ram 1500. I've owned a newer Ram 2500, and the diesels are not even not even a thought anymore. I just don't really want a diesel. These new half-ton trucks, they tow so well, they tow plenty for what I'm doing. I really don't need a diesel. You really need a diesel when you're towing a lot of weight. And I don't have an enclosed trailer, and I don't own a Hellcat anymore. I own a Mustang, which is a lot lighter than a Hellcat, and I'm gonna have an open trailer. So I really don't see the need for a diesel anytime soon. I'm talking strictly 1500s, half-ton trucks. I still believe the Ford is the best all around. Now, this truck tows really well. This truck has really cool technology. This truck has plenty of power. It looks good. It's a really good looking truck, actually. Like I said, when they first came out, I wasn't a fan, but this is a really good looking truck now. The Ford is one of the best looking trucks. I'm sorry, I think it's like a personal preference, but I've always thought the Fords look better. It's more straight edge, more modern. I don't know, I've always liked the Ford look better. I'm not really a fan of like the rounded shape, and Ram has always had like the rounded corners, and I really like the straight edge blockiness. I really think that looks cool to me in a truck. That's a personal preference. You have your own preference. You let me know down below. But overall, I really, really like the Ford. And some people, again, are gonna hate this, but I've had the 3.5 liter twin turbo EcoBoost, and if you've never driven one, don't comment. Those trucks are awesome. They've got tons of power and torque. They are snappy, they're quick, they can tow really well, they get good gas mileage. They are a fun truck to drive. Now this truck has plenty of power. It's a 5.7 liter Hemi, but it is nowhere near as quick as an F-150. You can go watch the Fast Lane. They've raced those trucks plenty of times, and the F-150 just smokes all of them. Now, one of my F-150s I actually had tuned, and that truck was so much fun to drive around. It was a ton of fun. So if you've never driven a 3.5 liter twin turbo EcoBoost, not the 2.7 liter, those are junk. 3.5 liter twin turbo EcoBoost. It is a fun truck to drive. There's a reason why they put that in the Ford GT. Now, a lot of people may comment and say, oh, EcoBoost sounds like crap. I will agree. I do not like the sound of the EcoBoost. I think when people throw exhaust on those or the Raptors, I'm sorry, I'm just not a fan of it. It sounds like a riced out Honda going 20 miles an hour at full kill mode. Like, it just doesn't sound good. Obviously, the Coyote sounds a lot better. These 5.7 Hemis sound a lot better. The 6.2 and the GMCs sound a lot better, but that's because they're V8s. Of course they're gonna sound good. But the EcoBoost is by far the most fun to drive. It can tow, it gets good gas mileage, and it's snappy. It's fun to drive around town. Don't get me wrong, this truck is still fun to drive around town, but it's nowhere near as fun as an F-150. So here I am, and you guys are probably wondering, so you're getting an F-150? Not necessarily. See, I got a really good deal on this truck, so it's hard to give it up. So I think I'll have this truck probably for like another 6 to 8 months, and then I'll reassess the situation. But really, this video is for anyone that wants to buy a 2019 Ram 1500. What I would do is I would wait another 6 to 8 months, wait for the 2020s to come out, wait till they've revived a couple of the recalls. I still get papers in the mail all the time of all the little recalls that they're fixing. So you really want to wait for all that stuff to happen and then get yourself a 2019 Ram 1500 if that's what you like. Now, if you've never driven one and you are a Ford fan or a GMC fan, I do urge you to go drive one and see if it changes your mind, because they are really nice trucks. They are really, really nice trucks. It's one of the best bangs for the buck when you're looking for a Ram, well, when you're looking for a half-ton truck. So I still do recommend these trucks. However, me personally, I still think I would choose the F-150. Obviously, on the inside, Kevin and I have gone back and forth on this so many times. The only thing the Ford is missing is all this cool technology. The Ford actually has all the same technology, a lot of it's the same, but it doesn't look as good. You see, these screens have black backgrounds. You can change the back screen, whereas the Ford, it's that blue background with black letters. It just doesn't look good. It looks outdated nowadays, and especially now that GMC has updated their screen and it looks like this, real modern. Ford is a little behind, but on the interior side, this Ram is super roomy. The Rams used to be one of the smaller trucks on the inside, but these are super roomy. However, when you're sitting in the front in the driver or passenger seat, I still feel that the Ford is a lot roomier. It feels, I don't know the measurements off the top of my head, but it feels wider in the front, and we noticed this when we went and drove all the Fords. Whether it was a 1500 or a 2500 or an F-150 or an F-250, the Fords always felt roomier. They just felt like they were wider in here. So when I have this center console right here, I feel like I'm really close to the passenger. When I'm in the Ford, it feels like I'm spread out. It almost feels like there's 1.5 or even 2 center consoles. So the Ford definitely feels bigger in the front. Now in the back, they're about the same. The Ford is definitely huge in the back, but this new Ram with the reclining seat, I think it's very, very comparable. So that's my review. I still highly recommend this truck, but me personally, I do take the F-150 still. I really miss my F-150. It was an awesome truck. It was just all around a better truck. The Ram definitely has some features that put the Ford in the dirt, but overall, if I had to do it again, I'd go back to my Ford F-150. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys like this kind of content, if you want me to do more reviews or more comparisons, comment down below and I'll start doing more of those. I've done a lot of those on trucks just because, I don't know, I really like looking at brand new trucks. I should never go to the dealership. It's a bad idea. It gets me all these ideas. Anyways, if you guys like this content, comment down below. And if you don't know, go see some of my other videos. We have a pretty crazy Mustang build going on. But hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. Hopefully you guys have an awesome weekend. Make sure you hit that comment. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, comment down below, like the video, and I'll see you guys on the next one.